something which is adaptive. It is something that can change. As soon as circumstances and situations change, we will also change. Basically, we are going with the flow. Okay, we're actually dancing to the drum, or we're following the Pied Piper. Whatever metaphors that you want to take up. Basically, when a person reduces his Islam to a cultural identity, it can go through many phases and many changes. And hence, at that point, to adopt Christmas or to embrace Christmas, it's really not a problem. But keeping in mind that those of us who actually want to reduce Islam to that degree, keep this in mind, that this Islam has absolutely no value in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Keep this in mind. Because the only Islam that has any value to Allah is the Islam of submission to Allah's will. It is the Islam where a person has committed to do as he is told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Islam matters to Allah. Islam, if it is being used as a tool to gain Allah's proximity, to gain His nearness and His closeness, then anything that would drive a person away or distance a person from Allah's closeness, that individual would stay away. So this is a decision that you and I need to make first and foremost. What is Islam to me? Is Islam a cultural identity for me? Because if it is, then, frankly speaking, there are no rules. There are no such thing as halal and haram. There is no such thing as even having the necessity or the need to come to the masjid. All I need to do is have a label on my back and that's it. And I can do whatever I want. But just keeping in mind that this path that I have chosen is the path to destruction. Spiritual destruction and everlasting destruction. It is something that is never, and I say that with a capital N, never is it going to get me close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Never. Because I have submitted to my desires. I have subjugated my soul to my whims and my fancies. That's what I have done. I have not subjugated myself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if I want to really subjugate myself to Allah, I want to serve Allah, I want to get close to Allah, I need to abide by the rules of Allah. Simple as that. So that being said, when it comes to the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, amongst the things that we all know very well that He detests, He loathes, He hates, is acts that are associated with shirk, where basically divinity is being extended from Allah to something or someone. This is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not receptive to. Because divinity, which in Arabic is called uluhiyya, is something that is exclusive for Allah. Being a God is something that is reserved only for Allah. It is not, never has been, never will be extended to someone else that they can share in the Godship or the divinity of Allah. That will never happen. That is something that is exclusive to Allah. And anything, any type of action that will take us towards the path or get us closer to acts of shirk are things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not even pleased by. And hence, if I want to live the Islam of gaining Allah's proximity, I need to know what the reality of these actions and these practices are in order for me to determine whether it is something I want to embrace or I want to repel. I need to know. And hence, when it comes to the 25th of December, this is not something that was invented by the Christians as is popular belief. If you were actually to do some research, you'll find that no Christian theologian can confirm that Isa alayhi salatu wasalam was born on the 25th of December. No one. Even we don't know when Isa alayhi salatu wasalam was born. The actual date, because it hasn't been told to us. Simple as that. But when conducting a bit more research, we find that this date is something that has been revered way before Christianity even came on the shores of Europe. Christianity, it came into Europe in the age, it was adopted as the state religion of the Romans in the year 380. So 380 years after the supposed demise of Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, we know for a fact that Isa alayhi salatu wasalam did not die on the cross, and he was raised up into the heavens, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has clearly told us in the Quran. But 380 years after that supposed incident, Christianity was now adopted as the state religion in Europe, predominantly by the Romans. I mean, you had other tribes, you had the Celtic tribes, and you had the Germanic tribes, and you had the Norse tribes. You had all these different tribes in Europe. But the Romans, and going to the latter day, the Byzantines, the Eastern European, the forces, those became the predominant power, the prevailing power of those lands. So, before Christianity hit the shores of Europe, what was so special about the 25th of December? The 25th of December actually was the supposed birthday of the sun god called Sol Invictus. For the Iranians and the Iraqis, it's known as Mithra. Okay? The sun god. And it is something that one of the emperors or lions, he had actually unified everyone to believe in the sun god. You can maintain your own god, but the prevailing god and the god that is supposed to be of the utmost authority is supposed to be Sol Invictus, who was supposedly born on the 25th of December, as research shows. And leading up to this, they had another festival called Saturnalia. And this is, before Christianity actually came to Europe, what you had is the whole of Europe was immersed in paganism. And the type of pagans they were people who were worshipping trees, worshipping nature, the sun, the stars, the moon, and so forth. That was their religion. So for all those centuries, they have been celebrating the 25th of December as the birthday of Sol Invictus, okay, the sun god. And only for it to be replaced later on was the supposed birthday of Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. All it was their cultural practices were maintained everywhere from having a wreath to a Christmas tree to the mistletoe. All of these are signs of paganism, different signs which I'm not going to go into the details of because of time restraints. But all of this has been maintained even to the extent of Santa Claus. Santa Claus, that concept has been borrowed from three different figures. One of those figures is a god of the Norse, the Vikings, whose name was Odin. And basically their belief was, the pagan belief in the pre-Christian era, was Odin had an 8-legged horse. That's where you get the 8 reindeers from, with Santa Claus. And he would fly in the skies, and children, what they would do is they would fill up their boots with food for Odin's horse and leave it by the fireplace, and according to the myth, Odin would reward them for feeding or leaving food for his 8-legged horse. He would provide them with candy and sweets in return. So basically what I'm saying is all of these practices that you see that is going on is very, very ancient. And it has its roots in paganism. Is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not receptive. And all that has happened is that it has evolved and changed throughout the time to a certain degree and just become commercialized to the extent that even remnants of those practices, or I should say the celebration of that time is still maintained until today.